Now the chimney in the attic area, we did find some staining to the chase, some water staining. And that's something that should be monitored and really checked going forward so that we don't have any leaks unbeknownst to us or nothing that we can see on the roof area. But in the attic, that's where that'll be picked up. Today it wasn't wet, but there was black staining that you'll see in the report from the roof chimney above. The other thing here, Mike, if you have any questions, just give me a shout after reading the report, and I'll be glad to give you any further information you might need. Now here, nice pool. You have two screen doors coming in. You had a couple of minor rips to the screens, but nothing really to speak of. So there were no guy wires found to the, usually you have guy wires coming to give some rigidity to the top, to the bottom on both ends. However, the structure was fine. It was stable, and the most vulnerable area here was again, the gutter system. Now nearby you have a beautiful camber tree back here, but some of those leaves are transferring to the roof and to the gutter system. And some of this gutter system here and along the back is leaking. Again, the seams are leaking, okay? Now, over here, this here is an area below a roof valley. So you have the main roof here, and this part of the house, that roof comes into the main. That creates a valley above us, and the water flow here is a high volume in wet times. So this area here, you have some leaks here coming from the gutter system, and also some of the ribs here are festered up from the bypassing of the gutter system and into these ribs here. Okay? This is all manageable, and in the scheme of things, this is something that shouldn't be a high-ticket fix. The pool itself, again, the pavers are all fine. They look new, really. The grab bars were good. It was resurfaced. We didn't find any problems with the pool texture. Everything was good. The tiles were good. The jets and the ports, you had a strong flow going through, in and out. So the pool structure itself was good. The water was clear, and everything was fine with the pool. Coming outside here, we don't want to split hairs. You have the stopper for this door closer that was missing here. So to have that stop for you, you need a little door closer here. All right, now, back to the gutter again, okay? When you look here, that's clogged at the top. Some of the leaves are coming overflowing here. So we have a clogged gutter there. Then we have a gutter downspout draining into an underground water system. Now, we can attest to the efficiency of an underground water system. And so, it looks here that some of that is backing up, and we have a wallowing out of the soil in this area. So, two things. We want to make sure that we have an efficient drainage system here, so we don't have that water backing up and overflowing into this area. Some of the foundation can be, it was exposed and can be seen here. So the fix here is to make sure that the drainage system is flowing and that the water is not backing up, and that this area is raised with some soil. Here's the one window that did have a screen. Okay? Here we have, and we had the face of this off. This is a sub panel, and everything was fine. You'll see the wires behind here. We have two 20 amp breakers here, and everything was okay. Your pool light, by the way, was inside, and that was working as intended. Outside here, we have the pool timer, and here, everything was working fine. There should be a shield right here. It's a little paper cardboard shield that actually protects those wires. Other than that, everything was fine here. And everything here, you have a Hayward. This is a cartridge filter. This was fine. There was no leaks there. Here, our gauge was fine. We're at about 15 psi, which is about where you want to be. This will start to raise when the cartridge filter starts to get mucked up. So you want to keep an eye on your gauge and also make sure that that's a nice clean filter. You have your bromide chlorine feeder, self-feeder here. That was good. There were no plumbing leaks found. The pump itself, no leaks here. This was all good. The pump was bonded. Okay, that's important right here. Okay, you want to bond that to a metal fixture that's grounded. So that's all good. That's a potential shock issue if that wasn't the case. Okay, so all the plumbing and everything was working good. Your pool system was good. Now back here, again, they've done a great job with the vegetation. Here we have a beautiful camphor tree. The only thing here, this is going to be a source of maintenance for you, and probably twice a year this is going to approach the roof cover. And this is something that you'll have to make sure that this is cut away from the roof itself. Now when you come around the corner here, you have one of the vent pipes on the roof. They have lead boot covers. That's a favorite treat for rodents. The one in this area was eaten. And so that tells us that we have some activity, rodent activity. We did find roof rat activity in the attic. Now let me just pause and say that here in Florida, up north, we don't deal with roof rats. But here, it's something that in Florida, I own a pest control company. I find it in more than half of the houses that I inspect. So they're never there because they like the view. If there's vegetation that approaches the house, they'll find their way in. Also, a little bit further south here, where your heat pump is, the refrigerant lines were housed with a chase, and that chase was not plugged. It's another favorite entry point for them to get up and in. And there was evidence up in the attic of the roof rats, okay? And that's a manageable thing, and that can be taken care of, and plugging up the holes is important, and then minimizing any of the conditions. When we just pan out over here, and we look at the fascia board where it meets the roof, that was also nulled. So again, as they transfer from that camphor tree, the bottom of that fascia board, you can see that's chewed up a bit. And so that and that vent pipe up top, it tells us that we want to keep this camphor tree cut away from the house so that we don't have these little critters transferring to the roof. Okay? Now we talked about the sprinkler heads, and on this side, this is actually where the sinkhole area was. And I did check, and I read all of the specs that you emailed me. The good thing is it was both grouted and pinned, so that is that's great. The thing here is that if you look, some of the wall texture has diminished, and some of those mortar joints are exposed. Now I believe some of that has happened because these sprinkler heads are popping up and backing up to the wall. You can see even the paint at the bottom, and the paint looks fairly fresh, but you can see some of that paint has actually washed away, and some of the iron staining. And this is from the sprinkler heads. And this is where adjacent in the bedroom and also the bathroom on this side showed some minor staining. And I believe this is where this is coming from. Your dryer bed, your laundry room's inside there. We checked all that out. And your a 4-ton unit, which is where you should be for this size house. There's a nearby 60 amp disconnect, and that was working as intended. And your refrigerant lines were okay coming up and in, but the metal chase needs to be plugged at the bottom. Now, plugging that should be a copper wool, not a steel wool. The rats will, they'll actually be repelled by the copper, okay? So a copper wool with foam should be the fix.
Are we going inside? No? Oh, not quite.
Inside are here. No problems here. Our electric meter's fine. Our underground cable coming in, our electric supply was good. Everything was bonded here. We actually didn't find the grounding rod here. Okay. This is your plumbing for the sprinkler system, and here they also added another, if you wanted to use and not use up all of your city water, then this is what you want to use here, okay? So there's a faucet here. This is your water shutoff for the sprinkler system down here, and it's also equipped with a filter. So you have a filter here, and you want to make sure that you're checking, this is going to be a cartridge filter, and you want to make sure that this is in good shape, okay? Before you use it, check it first, okay? Also, inside, you have a drinking fountain in the kitchen. You have a reverse osmosis underneath the sink, and you have 2 filters there. And you want to make sure you're checking those, or at least pulling them apart and looking at your filters before using those. It's a great amenity to have. We'll go inside here.
Okay, Pete, I'm going to stop this and start it when we get inside.
Okay.